A class on summarize written text again. In the last class, we have studied how we have to first study the passage. The focus was to utilize the good 10 minutes properly. Step number 1, read the passage first. Step number 2, make good notes. And step number 3, make a beautiful summary. Summarize written text is always with a good score, so just don't underestimate it. I love writing summaries for the questions, and I consider my students should also love it. Let's put all the 3 steps into practice. Step number 1, reading the passage quickly. Is the purpose of history to promote a strong international identity and support national myths? Again a question mark. It says the purpose of history to promote a strong national identity and support national myths. Myths are false beliefs. Myths are opinions which have no base. Certainly, it has been used in this way for centuries, and this is often reflected in the history curriculum. We can all remember history at school as being a matter of learning lots of facts and dates and long lists of kings and queens. Putting aside the fact that national identity is a complex and decisive question, this approach to history emphasizes a broad understanding. Yet, history is or should be a critical, skeptical discipline. What students need to develop are more critical and analytical skills. They can do this by studying certain historical problems in depth, being critical of the narratives presented by historians, and skeptical of the myths preserved in the national memory. Now, as I was making and reading this, I felt that in the next class we should work on the vocabulary given in the paragraphs also. So we shall do that in the next class. Now let's proceed with step number 2, which is make notes sentence wise. Sentence number 1. Is the purpose of history to promote a strong national identity and support national myths? What does that mean? It means history is meant to make people proud of their country and believe the national stories. Sentence 2. Certainly, it has been used in this way for centuries and it is often reflected in the history curriculum. Certainly means the writer is saying that he is very sure about the facts. So it says, yes, people have used history like this for a long time and schools still teach it that way today. What is the way? Speaking about the national identity and supporting national myths. Sentence number 3. We can all remember history at school as being a matter of learning lots of facts and dates and long lists of kings and queens. So what does this say? In school, history is mainly about learning dates, facts and important people to show how the country improved. Sentence 4. Putting aside the fact that national identity is a complex and decisive question, this approach to history emphasizes a broader understanding, which means this way of teaching makes history too simple and does not show the real truth about the country. Yet, history is or should be a critical, skeptical discipline. Here it means that history should ask questions about old stories instead of believing or supporting them. Line 6. What students need to develop are more critical and analytical skills. That means students should learn to think deeply and question what they are taught. So it is not only understanding or it is not only learning. The student should have a quality to question history. They can do this by studying certain historical problems in depth, being critical of the narratives presented by historians and skeptical of the myths presented in the national memory. This means real learning happens when students study history carefully, question popular stories about their country, and think for themselves. Now, after working on every line, very in a simple words. Now, step number two is to make the main idea. What is the gist of the story? What is the summary of this passage? The passage is comprising of two views. One is teaching history to build national pride, and the second thing is studying history to question myths and think critically. So, what is the writer supporting? The writer is supporting the second view. That means students should learn how to question the history and they should be taught to think critically. Now, what is our task? Our task is to make one sentence which is very easy to read and covers the key ideas, which is important. What is the main purpose of summarized written text? It is to understand, has the student got the key ideas which the writer is trying to show? So that is what we have also to exhibit. So it is history is not for pride and history is for critical thinking and understanding. So these are the points which are covering the key ideas. Now let's see two different good answers. First, make yourself very comfortable writing the simple answer, students. So it is history is. Very, very simple sentence. History is not just to make us proud. Just is the word we have used. That is what the tone of the passage was. The writer was feeling very sad about what the history is, what the history is doing now. So we have taken this emphasizing word, just. You can also use the word only. The same words can be used in your describe image and writing essays also. History is not just to make us proud, it should help us. What is the semicolon doing here? Semicolon is the continuation of our thought, the extension of our thought. If you are not confident, not a problem, remove the semicolon and put a comma. Now the continuation says, it should help us. Focus on the helping verb. This is the suggestion made. Don't use the word must. Must is a compulsion. This is should. It is showing a possibility. So it should help us think, ask questions about old stories and understand the past. Beautiful and clear answer covering the main ideas and getting us the good score also. And the word count is 23 words. Little bit of advanced. What is the advanced answer actually comprising of? Advanced answer will comprise of the subject followed by correct verbs, and then the key words. So what is the subject? History. What are the verbs we are using? Should not be. Don't use the word is not about. No, it is should not be used to promote national myths. The words of the passage, right? Myths by glorifying a country's great victories. What is glorifying? Glorifying is praising. If you're not getting the word, just substitute with the common word praising. Praising a country's great victories and figures, but rather it should be approached in an analytical and critical way. What is thinking logically, thinking deeply, thinking critically? It is called as an analytical and critical way of thinking. Good words. Right. What is the other transition word we have used? But rather. But rather. Learn from the class, you will enrich your vocabulary. What is the verb we have used? Should. Should not be, should not be, and the other word was should be. Slowly and steadily, with little interest and more practice, you will certainly get. Watch the video twice so that the subject gets into your consciousness. Work on the same passage. Write your own sample answer. We will come up with a new class again on the same topic. Summarize written text. We will work on the third passage. Until then, happy learning. Call all your circle. Expand our family. Let's study together and let the family grow. So like, share and do subscribe. Happy learning until then.